Listening is the key to learning English. In this video, I'm going to show you the 4 steps to understanding what you hear, as well as a personalized study plan for your level: beginner, intermediate, or advanced. I will also reveal the 20 specific strategies that will help you understand spoken English. And you can download everything from my website, a listening guide that I've prepared especially for you. As a result, you will be able to teach yourself how to understand, speak, read and write English. I'm Lucy Garcia Magaldi. I have a PhD in applied linguistics and 40 years experience as an English teacher. And my mission through my YouTube channel, English Deciphered, is to help you learn English on your own, as you've never been taught before, because I'll explain the best steps, strategies and methods according to research so that you can organize and plan your language learning syllabus and learn English at your own pace. If you studied English at school, it's possible that you weren't taught how to listen, because it was believed that the ability to listen arose spontaneously over time. However, now both linguists and teachers are more aware that listening can and should be improved with the use of the specific strategies I'll explain in this video. Although you won't remember how you learned your first language, the process was based on listening and babbling until you were 18 months old. By the time you were 2 years old, maybe you knew about 50 words. But it wasn't until you were 3 years old that you were able to form simple sentences of 2 or 3 words. By age 4, your vocabulary reached about 1,500 words, which is 5% of the 30,000 words you know at the moment. And now your purpose is to learn or improve a second language as an adult on your own. A challenging goal that I will gladly help you reach. Linguists and teachers know that the best way to learn a second language is to start by listening, just like you learned your first language. This is known as having access to comprehensible input, or the input hypothesis, proposed by Krashen in the 1980s. Input can be oral through listening or written through reading. In this video, I'm going to focus on listening, or how to understand spoken English. Listening involves social, cultural, affective and learning factors, as well as the complex process during which the brain interprets the sound waves received by the ear and translates them into understandable information. The key, however, is not the input. Listening itself is not the main objective in language learning. The objective is making the input comprehensible in the most efficient and effective way possible. Making language comprehensible means that you're able to decode or understand the meaning of most of what you hear. Learning will not occur if the input is not comprehensible. For example, if you listen to a language, English, Chinese, Danish or any other language, for an hour a day for a year, you won't learn it. Not even if you did so for 10 years. If you don't understand what you're hearing, it's like trying to fill a sink without a plug. The water will go down the drain. You won't have learned anything. But don't worry, because I'm going to explain how to turn incomprehensible input into comprehensible input in 4 simple steps, including a study program based on listening to videos or podcasts suitable for your level: beginner, intermediate or advanced. Finally, I'll tell you the 20 specific strategies that will help you understand spoken English in face-to-face communication, as well as when you use audiovisual resources. And you can download all this information in a listening guide that I have prepared for you. The link is in the description below. The best way to learn or improve your English is by listening. And if you follow these 4 steps, you will understand spoken English faster than you can imagine. In fact, you'll start understanding from the first week, as long as you use the first golden rule to learn any language. Build on your previous knowledge and use materials at your level of listening and speaking. Keep in mind that your level of listening and speaking may be below your level of reading and writing. If you don't know what your listening level is, you can take one of these listening tests. First, take a look at this table. The first column indicates your level of English. The second includes a selection of YouTube channels and websites with audiovisual resources adapted to each of the levels. In the third column, you will see the appropriate listening time of the video you are going to study. The fourth column shows the duration of each period of study. Bear in mind that the steps may not be completed in one study period, depending on your level of English, the length of the audio, and your ability to concentrate. You may need more than one session for some of the steps. Learning a language is an exciting journey that benefits all travellers. It's not a race in which only the fastest wins. Remember this quote by Frederick Perls. Don't push the river, it flows by itself. You'll get there in the end. Your goal, which you will achieve at the end of the 4 steps, is to understand the selected video minutes in English without any external aid, such as translation, for example. Start with short videos or break longer videos into shorter sections, as you won't understand everything the first time you hear it, and you'll have to listen to it repeatedly. For this reason, it's important that you select videos on topics that motivate or interest you. If you're finding this video interesting or useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos. Now, let's check out the 4 steps to comprehensible input. Start by listening and paying attention to visual clues, if any. I suggest using videos instead of podcasts, especially for beginners, because they include visual and contextual clues that will help you understand the speakers. Repeat the selected video several times until you can make out most of the words you hear, even if you don't understand all of them. If you're a beginner, you may understand very little at first. That's normal, don't worry. Remember, you're in the first step. Inside these words, have patience. All things are difficult before they become easy. If you're not a beginner and you find the video very hard to understand, perhaps you should start with audios for lower level learners. And here's a quote by Napoleon Hill for you. Patience, perseverance and perspiration make an unbeatable contribution for success. For step 2, listen to the video again with English subtitles because they will help you understand what you hear. Studies have shown that integrating language skills, in this case listening and reading, reinforces learning. Listen and read several times until you can distinguish the words you hear with the help of the written text. Listen, if you're a beginner, you may need to read subtitles in your own language first. But make sure you use English subtitles later, certainly before moving on to step 3. Thirdly, write new vocabulary and relevant or useful phrases in your notebook. I suggest you include clues to the pronunciation of the words, such as the stressed syllable, silent letters, and the pronunciation of vowels. If your level is intermediate or advanced, you can write a summary or opinion of the content, for example, as well. By now, you've heard the text numerous times, so it's finally time for speaking. For the 4th step, you will listen and speak in 2 stages. First, listen and repeat the sentences consecutively, pausing the video after listening to the speakers and repeating until you manage to repeat the sentences fluently. If you're a beginner, you can reduce the speed at first, but remember to insist until you can repeat the sentence at normal speed. Secondly, repeat the audio simultaneously, that is, at the same time as the speaker. This is called shadowing technique, which is the best way to improve your pronunciation and listening skills by imitating other fluent speakers. Finally, the time has come to listen and watch the video without any external aids. And I'm sure that if you have followed this process, which will have taken you several study periods, you will understand most of the content of the video. As an example, you can see my German study routine, 3 or 4 days a week. I listen to a 4 or 5 minute podcast repeatedly in the early morning for about 15-20 minutes. At noon, before lunch, usually I read the transcript or write down the vocabulary and some phrases and expressions in my vocabulary notebook, well, for another 15-20 minutes. In the evening, I revise the vocabulary, listen to the podcast again, and repeat the text with the shadowing method for another 15-20 minutes. I periodically re-listen to the previous podcasts and go through my notebook to recall and revise vocabulary. This doesn't interfere with the rest of my daily routine, and I'm gradually learning the language by listening and acquiring vocabulary. Finally, as promised, the 20 strategies to improve your listening skills when you're studying and in face-to-face communication. Listening strategies while you're studying. Study for short periods of 10 to 25 minutes. As research has shown that shorter periods with breaks are more effective for learning than longer periods. Start with short videos or podcasts at your level or slightly below. Gradually include resources which are slightly above your level. Listen to videos on topics that motivate or interest you because you're going to listen to them repeatedly. Use diverse resources such as dialogue, series, documentaries, news, interviews, etc. Notice the rhythm and intonation of words and phrases and repeat them with the shadowing technique. Increase your vocabulary and expressions by writing them down in your notebook and revising them regularly. Include clues on how to pronounce the words you learn. Point out the stressed syllable, silent letters, and include the pronunciation of vowels, which is usually the most difficult part. I'll upload a video on speaking covering all these aspects and a few more shortly. Follow the 4 steps proposed in this video. Slow down the speed of the texts at first if you need to. Use subtitles in your own language if you need to. And use a translator or dictionary if you need one. Listening strategies for face-to-face communication. Try to relax and reduce anxiety and stress while listening and talking. Empathize with the speakers. Pay attention to their gestures and non-verbal language to understand their message. Pay attention to the context or topic of the conversation. Identify familiar words and try to interpret the overall message. Focus on keywords such as verbs, nouns, adjectives, and adverbs. Ask for repetition or clarification about the general message, or ask specific questions. Explain that you have little knowledge of the language and ask speakers to repeat or speak more slowly. Use an online translator or dictionary for words or phrases that make communication impossible. Finally, don't forget that on my blog you can download a listening guide that will help you improve your English listening skills. The link is in the description. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I will be happy to answer them. I hope that the information and strategies that I have proposed in this video have helped you on your path to learning English. And if so, don't forget to give this video a like, share it with other students of English and subscribe to my channel with the bell so you don't miss any of my videos. And as always, have a wonderful day.